Hey guys, what's up? This is going to be part 1 of my playthrough of the new content from the Prepare to Die edition of Dark Souls on PC. Now obviously today I won't be covering any of the standard game footage. All you're going to need to know up to this point is how to reach the new content. Basically there are 2 requirements. The first being saving Dusk from the crystal golem located in this cave. The second by killing a new crystal golem located at the beginning of Duke's Archives. Now obviously to access Duke Archives, you need to have placed the Lord Vessel and open up the Golden Fog Gates. Once you do that, you're going to get an item called a Broken Pendant and return to this cave where you'll notice that the portal is now there. Examine the portal and you'll be sucked in like you just saw happening with the big hand. So right now my character is around level 60, which is a good level to access the new areas. It's pretty damn hard. Mobs hit really hard, have a lot of hit points, so having a mid-level character will make things a lot easier. Right now I'm using a fully upgraded +5 Black Knight Halberd. I have a grass shield on my back and a fully stocked set of Wanderer gear. I chose not to upgrade my armor so that you guys can see what kind of damage these new mobs can dish out. And also, I plan on using some of the newer armor once I get it, so I didn't really want to spend a lot of souls and Titanite upgrading some stuff that I wasn't going to use for very long. So obviously the first creature you're going to run across is the Sanctuary Guardian. At first glance, he looks fairly tough, but in reality, he's not that hard. Once you learn his moveset, then it's not too hard to dodge him. He does do quite a bit of damage, especially with his lightning. And as you notice, when the lightning hits the water, it kind of spreads out in sort of an AoE, but it's not hard to dodge it. Right now, I'm kind of just playing around, waiting for him to attack so I can cut his tail off. On my first trip through the game, I wasn't able to cut his tail off. So this time I want to make sure that I didn't kill him until I caught it. There's a couple of ways to cut it off. Right there, if I was a little bit faster, I probably could have done it. There's one major attack he does that opens up his tail to you. He hasn't done it yet. He'll do it soon here though. Right there, if you roll just right and are fast enough, you can get around to his tail, but it's not the safest way to do it. So anyway, I'm just kind of trying to keep away from him until he decides to open it up to me. There it comes right now. A little dive bomb, roll back, cut it right off, and it's done. So now I got his tail, I can pretty much finish this guy off. But as you see, he doesn't really have very high defense. I'm smacking him for over 600, and I'm not even using power within or anything like that. And as you saw, he went down. So this guy is kind of a pussycat overall, but it gets tougher from here, I'll just say that much. So there are a few new NPCs in the game, and when I reach these NPCs and start talking to them, I'm going to go ahead and shut my own trap so you guys can hear what they have to say and kind of follow the storyline. But in the areas where there's a lot of fighting going on, I will explain all the changes in the game, and there has been quite a few.
Well, look at this one. From what faraway age hast thou come? Thy scent is very human indeed, but not intolerable. Ah, Princess Dusk's savior. Thine aura is precisely as she described. I thank thee deeply for rescuing Her Highness, but Princess Dusk is here no longer, snatched away by that horrifying primeval human. And so I must ask, couldst thou once more play the savior? Thank you. I am Elizabeth, guardian of this sanctuary. Something of a godmother to Princess Dusk. I shall assist thee to my utmost, for I am one with the sorceries of Oolacile. Thou shalt see further on, an abyss was begat of the ancient beast, and threatens to swallow the whole of Oolacile. Knight Artorius came to stop this, but such a hero has nary a murmur of dark. Without doubt he will be swallowed by the abyss, overcome by its utter blackness. Indeed, the abyss may be unstoppable. Still, I have faith that Princess Dusk may be rescued yet. May the flames guide.
So that was Elizabeth, who claims to be some sort of godmother to Dusk. She's sort of the quest giver for the new content, as well as being a merchant who sells almost the same spells as Dusk. I will say in advance you will want to pick up the Cast Light spell. It's required to access a certain item that is in a hidden area that you need to cast light on to open up. Now, it might be possible to use the Skull Lantern or Sunlight Maggot, but that's unconfirmed. I'm just making a guess here. Anyways, as you'll notice here, this actually is almost the same layout as Darkroot Garden. That bridge I just crossed was the same bridge that led to Artorius' grave where you fight Sif. And in fact, the area where I was talking to Elizabeth, where the bonfire was actually where you fought Sif. You'll notice this building is very familiar. However, there's no bridge yet. So it's kind of the same, but there's a little bit of difference here. You just grab those Guardian Gauntlets. It's one of the sets of new armor in the game. And there's 4 pieces, and they're all spread out throughout this new forest area. So there are 2 new enemy types in Royal Wood. We've got the Stone Guardians here, which are very similar to the Stone Knights in Darkroot Garden, and also the Scarecrows. Now the Scarecrows are actually pretty weak. The only thing dangerous about them is they have really, really good range with that pitchfork. And they have this one attack where they actually run at you and they kind of dive at you. That one's very difficult to dodge if you're trying to roll backwards. So you always want to dodge to the left or to the right. The Stone Guardians themselves are extremely tough. You'll notice I was hitting the Sanctuary Guardian for about 600 pop. On the Stone Knights, or Stone Guardians, I'm only going about 140 or so. And this is with a fully upgraded Black Knight Halberd, which is a pretty damn strong weapon. So if you can imagine how little you'd be doing with a little dex weapon or something like that. They hit like a ton of bricks. They have a couple different attacks. They have the horizontal swing, and they'll often do 2 in a row. And then they have the big overhead smash that sticks their that stone axe into the ground. And when that thing gets stuck in the ground, if you remain too close to them, they will pull it up, and it'll cause an area of attack where they kind of pull the ground up. And you'll see them do it right there. That'll knock you off your feet, so you definitely don't want to be in the middle of that. The best way to dodge the Stone Guardians, on the vertical attack, it tends to track you, so you want to dodge left to right at the very end of it. Now, the horizontal swings, you always want to dodge the opposite way that they're swinging the weapon. Reason being, if you dodge with the way they swing it, when you come out of your iframes, you're going to land basically right where the hammer hits the ground and still get hit. You saw that chest right there. It's basically the same chest that was located in the Darkroot Garden that contained the enchanted ember. This time it just has a blue slab. So if you kind of pay attention where we're at here, this is actually where the cat creatures are in the normal Darkroot Garden. You can see straight ahead is that little ledge that they start up on. And of course it looks a little bit different with all the flowers and such. As you can see, you can parry the Scarecrows. I think almost every attack they do is parryable. I don't usually tend to do it because with this weapon it's pretty easy to get them in range, but they are parryable. So if you're interested in practicing your parrying, they're fair game. So if you've been noticing, the Stone Guardians actually drop Twinkling Titanite, and the Scarecrows have been dropping the same thing as the Ints in the regular Darkroot Garden, and that's the different types of moss. So right now I'm using the Gold Serpent Ring to see if I can basically get as much stuff as I can. I was trying to get a pitchfork, which I don't actually end up getting one, but I was actually getting a lot of Twinkling Titanites. So I think, honestly, that's probably the best place to farm that stuff now. If you do a full run through here, you probably have at least 8 to 10 of those Stone Guardians to fight, and you're going to probably get lucky and get 4 or 5 of them. So there's 2 Crystal Lizards here. That's the first, and there's one a little bit farther ahead here. This is where the forest starts to look a little bit different. You'll notice there's a lot of pits in the ground here. They all will make you fall to your death. And there's another one right here that got me the first time because I was running through not paying attention. But that's another one of the Guardian pieces. Now I have 3 out of the 4. So there's only one more to get. But in general, this part of the forest is definitely different than Darkroot Garden. We're kind of out of the familiar area and into the new stuff. So along with the new content, there's been quite a few changes to the actual game itself. So I'm going to go ahead and go through some of those while you're watching me play through the rest of the Royal Wood here. First of all, Darkwood Grain Ring has been nerfed. It used to be you would get a ninja flip at 50% burden or below. Now it's been changed to 25. So if you're above 25%, you're going to do a straight mid roll. You have to be below 25% to get the flip. Another thing is the Claymore and other, I believe it's all of the actual great swords have been slowed down a little bit. They no longer stun lock to my knowledge. I noticed it when I was trying to use the Black Knight sword. They definitely swing a little bit slower, and I really don't think that they're going to stun you long enough. A lot of people have mixed feelings about this. It doesn't really bother me too much, but it definitely going to bother a lot of people that are great sword fans. No longer can you get 1 or 2 hits on somebody and finish out the combo. They're going to be able to escape it now. There's also been some new warp locations located when you get the Lord Vessel and warp between bonfires. A couple have been added. Tomb of the Giants, Duke's Archives. There's an Undead Parish one that's right next to the Andre. It's right actually at Andre at the bonfire. There's one in the depths. So it makes it a little bit more accessible to get around the world, which is kind of nice. The Elite Knight set now has the same poise as the Knight set. Now for Xbox players, you're not going to notice any difference because we always had the change. But the PS3 American guys, they're the ones that I guess they had it. I guess the Japanese version was fixed and it was the same, but the American PS3 guys had a lower poise with the Elite Knight set. So that's been fixed. So I think all the PS3 guys will be happy to know when their version of the download content comes out, they will have the ability to use the Elite Knight set again. Hornet Ring has been nerfed. It used to do 50% extra damage, now it only does 30. Eagle Shield used to be like the #1 great shield to use because of its low weight and low strength requirement. Now it only does 95% physical deflection, just like the Grass Crest Shield. So it's still a pretty good shield to use, but it doesn't block 100% physical damage. You're going to get a little bit of chip damage every time you block with it. Apparently mid-rolls have been buffed, meaning any roll between 25 and 50% burden. I'm not a big fan of mid-roll anyway, so I haven't had a chance to test this out. But apparently, from what I understand, it has been fixed a little bit, made a little bit faster. Elemental weapons have been nerfed for the most part. I believe the number thrown around is about 10%. So what I'll say is that's definitely going to make low-level runs a little bit harder because you're going to be able to do less damage with your elemental weapons, which used to do full damage even at low levels. But overall, I think it's a good thing. It's going to force people into actually upgrading different stats than just gouging vitality or endurance. The Mask of Mother and Father have both been nerfed. Mask of Mother, I think, only gives 10% now, and Mask of Father only gives 5% burden increase. So, for the most part, I think they're kind of worthless. I never really liked using them before that much because they were just so ugly, but the numbers were hard to give up. 20% health increase from Mask of Mother was pretty damn hard to say no to. But now they've been nerfed so much, it's really not worth it. You can pretty much wear anything, you're not going to miss much. The other thing I'll talk about is Hyper Armor for the heaviest of the weapons. Now, Hyper Armor is a term that's been carried over from Demon Souls. And basically what it means is anytime you swing with a really, really heavy weapon, you basically get instant poise. Meaning if you're in the middle of a swing and someone hits you, even if you have 0 poise, you won't get knocked out of the animation. I don't have too much information on this yet. I don't think anyone has a specific list of weapons. My guess is any weapon over a certain weight probably works. I think the halberd that I have right now works. I'm using a wolf ring right now. You saw that I got invaded, and I didn't want to try to fight using the gold serpent ring. So a lot of times I have some sort of poise on me, so it's hard to tell if I'm actually getting the hyper armor or not. But I believe any of the heavier weapons it will work with. So my guess is the halberd, since it's a weight of 14, is probably falling under that category. I imagine the Great Club, the Demon Great Axe, and stuff like that also will probably have it. So as you saw, I just made it down to the bottom of the elevator. I'm going to run by the Marvelous Chester right now. Normally I would have talked to him, but since I got invaded, I didn't want to risk talking to any NPCs. Now that elevator right there, it leads back up to the place up top that's basically the first little building I got to. That makes it to where if you die, you don't have to run through all that again. So I've made it through the Royal Wood, and I've reached Knight Artorias. So you guys have already seen me fight him before. Well, I guess you have if you've watched my other video. You'll know I used Power Within and killed him really quick. A few people kind of complained about it, so this time I'm going to go ahead and fight him normally so the fight lasts longer. He's not all that difficult. At the time I fought him right now, I still hadn't fought him too many times to know all of his patterns. He has this nasty habit of missing an attack, and you think he's going to leave himself open, and then right when you go to attack, he attacks you again. So he's not a boss you can simply counter after every attack. You kind of have to wait for specific openings. He does do quite a bit of damage, and since I don't have upgraded armor, I usually take the full brunt of it. I definitely get hit a few times during it, but it ends up being a pretty good fight. This one right here, it's basic dodging 101, and I don't know why I was forgetting. You never dodge along the same path that the weapon swings, you always dodge against it. He gets me again with it later. Hopefully by now I've figured it out. The reason is because that swings about 3/4 of a circle, and even if you dodge the first part of it, you end up landing right where it is. That's his power-up attack. What I've noticed after watching this video over, he does it 3 times during the fight, and he always does it when he goes below 75% damage, below 50, and below 25. So you can use that to your advantage. Once you get him below 75% threshold, he always backs up and does that power-up. And so during that time, you can take time to heal, buff your weapon, or best is to run up and hit him. You can knock him out of it if you're fast enough. If not, you'll get an AoE in the face, and I believe he does more damage while powered up, but honestly, I never let him power up to even double check that on video, but I believe that he does. But anyways, you're seeing I'm pretty much dodging most of it. There he goes to power up again. If you look at his health, you can see it's right below 50%. 2 hits of the halberd, I knock him out of it. I'm assuming that a smaller weapon is probably going to take a few more hits. But in general, you can definitely knock him out. The worst attack that he does that I hate is the triple flip, where he does the flip and lands with a sword, and then he delays and he makes you think you can hit him, and then as soon as you swing the weapon, he does it again. That attack right there. And again. And sometimes he does a third one, and I haven't been able to figure out the tell to know if he's going to keep doing it, or if there is even a tell and it's completely random. But I'm wearing him down here. He's almost dead. I think I've got him, but unfortunately he got one more hit on me. So we're both down to the wire here. It's coming down to the end, and of course he did something stupid, and because he went below 25% health, he went ahead and tried to do his power up again. So if you guys are struggling with him, pay attention to that pattern. It actually makes it a pretty easy fight. Now, I think if you're doing a massive damage to him, he probably won't do it every time. If you take him from 100% to 50% in one combo, obviously he's not going to stop the 3 times like he did for me. What you're seeing now is the new area where you can do the arena PvP. I actually haven't had a chance to do it yet. I've been too busy exploring the content and making videos. But I do hope to use it here in the near future, and I'll probably make a video. The other way right there that I just showed, that leaves the Goth, but his room is locked right now, and you have to get a key in the next area that's ahead here, so I didn't bother going up there just yet. So all I did there was basically kindle my bonfire up to 20 so that I can go through the new area. You'll notice my humanity went down to 9. So by resting in a bonfire, or also if you just quit out and leave and come back, Karen will show up. Now, she's going to ask you if you can have the Artorius soul, and if you give it to her, she gives you her weapons. However, if you kill her, you get her weapons and her armor. I made the mistake the first time playing through of giving her the soul and then getting the weapons. Then I decided I was going to kill her later. But when I came back after doing some more areas, she was gone. So unfortunately, the only way to get both the daggers and her armor and the Artorius soul is just to kill her straight up. She's actually pretty tough, I'll have to say. She's not a typical NPC. She actually has quite a few hit points, and she does a lot of damage. She also fights pretty smart. Unfortunately, I kind of destroyed her really quick, so you can't see it. But she throws daggers at you. She tends to roll and dodge when you try to attack her. So if you're not careful, she can kill you. So now I got her daggers and her armor. I'm not going to take too much time to show you guys that yet. There's 5 new sets of armor and a handful of weapons. So what I'll do is make a video at the end of the playthrough and cover basically all that new stuff. So I'm going to go back and talk to Marvelous Chester now. If you kill him, you get his armor, but I'm not going to kill him yet because he can invade you in the next area, but if you kill him first, he won't. So with that pretty much ends the first part of the playthrough. I'm going to let you guys hear Chester's conversation, and next part of the video, I'm going to go into the Oolacile township.
And dragged off to the past. Yes, of course. Exactly what happened to me. We are both strangers in this strange land. But at least now there are 2 of us. Did you really slay Knight Artorias? I'd heard the Abyss found him first, but even still, that's absolutely treacherous. Yes, magnificently so. So long.